Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump from the deep end of the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Testicles 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back to Paranoid Radio Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Trebles Garcia, your humble host. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want to remind you that this is the best podcast with the best show, with the best content for the best listeners. And the most important thing that you can do for the show is word of mouth. Make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com. Check out some of the affiliations today. Get 15% off on Flavors of the Forest, and also on Opus Clip if you're creating digital content. Check it out at paranoidradio.com. Do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, enough with the intro. I have an amazing episode lined up for all of you guys, and I also have a podcast hosts here that are going to rock your socks. They're not afraid to get into any topics, but most importantly, they're here to deliver truth and hope. Please give a warm welcome, jumping in for the deep end of the pool and setting the mood from Firmamental Podcast, Raúl and Alex. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having us.
Raul is he's a part of the group The OGs, where I was added by Rabbit, Catalyst Jones. Mad love Catalyst Jones for doing that. We are networking now, and we are really turning up the heat and moving on all gears. I want the world to know where you guys come from. Alex, let them know where they can find you.
Oh, wow. From the Firmamentalpodcast.com. You can check out all our gear. Our episodes are on there. We're on Spotify. We got, I think we got up to about 150 episodes now, right, Raul?
Yeah, getting close, man. I think we're at like 146.
And on there, you guys dropping, dude.
Oh, yeah. And on there, you can find the best swag, because Firmamental has the best swag in the truth community.
I bet. You know, Firmamental, even in Spanish, that sounds freaking
hard. Yeah, right? I like the way you said that for sure.
Yeah, that Firmamental. Because it affirms your mental. That's what it means in Spanish, right?
Yeah, strong mind, you know what I mean?
Strong mind.
Yeah. Plus, also representative of the firmament, because we are level plane geocentrists over here. And I was coming up, because what inspired the show originally was Flat Earth Files and George Hobbs. Shout out Fact Hunter and Flat Earth Files and George Hobbs. But when I got smacked upside the head with all the flat earth stuff, which I think is kind of a ridiculous term now, I like to call it level plane geocentrism. It kind of inspired me to start the show, because I was like, man, if they could pull off this deception, man, it started evaluating everything. It's like, man, everything in this world could possibly be a deception or a lie. So it inspired me to create the show, and just a little bit about ourselves and how I linked up with Alex. But yeah, I was trying to come up with a name, and I didn't want to use Flat Earth, because there was a lot of shows using Flat Earth in the title of their show. So I kind of prayed about it, and it just came to me like, what's a strong proof of this realm that we live in? And the firmament stood out to me, and I was like, man, and it just popped in my head like firmamental, like a divine download. And so I just praise God for giving me that name. And then I linked up with Alex. We're both, me, him, and the producer are all alumni from Flat Earth Files. We've all had episodes on there, and we linked up. Alex and I had been messaging back and forth since our episodes on Flat Earth Files, and I invited him to be on Firmamental episode 4, I believe it was. And we just had such great chemistry. And this guy brought silver bullets on the level plane that we live on.
Killing Dracula, killing vampires out here, and knocking down the werewolves and all the demons. That's right.
Yeah, and I just loved it. So I said, man, and he's an old school hip hop head. I'm an old school hip hop head. And so I said, bro, I could use a co-host. What do you think? And he jumped on board, and we've been running ever since. And I couldn't do this without him, because he's held down the fort when I went AWOL a couple times. So thank God for my co-host here. But yeah, here we are standing here with you today. Thank you for having us on your show. And shout out Catalyst Jones, man. Look, we networking off that OGs Connect on IG. So what's up?
That is extremely important. We were just talking, and before the show, we were talking about how the podcasting community alone is a very welcoming community, and the conspiracy podcast community, it's even more. Not all of us are here with the right intent. Intent is very, very important, specifically in the area and a subsection of a categorized subsection that we are taking part of, dude. Our radio stations, our media outlets are not for everybody. And a lot of us also get diluted with all the other stuff. For example, the show that we host is true crime, and we serve some for the girls and we serve some for the guys, and we have comedic relief. And then through Halloween, we do scary stuff and true crime and stuff like that. So we fall under a bunch of a clouded and a very, very muddy water. So it's really hard to see who's really your friend. It's very important that you guys share your energies with the right amount of people and with the right people, with the right mindset. And I'm happy to know that you guys are doing very well, dude. 150 episodes. Kudos to that. That is a feat. Not all of us have made it. You guys said you guys been for 15 months. That's a good one, bro. I like that.
Dude, shout out to the Firmamentalists. That's what we call our listeners. We just eclipsed 200,000 plays as well. So shout out, guys.
Yo, you guys are burning up, and that's amazing, dude. Keep dropping bombs of knowledge. And I want to open up with this. What was your first red pill, bro? I like doing this because we don't have an agenda. This is a very freestyle conversation, and I know it's going to lead to great, great heights. What was your first red pill, bro?
My first red pill would have to be the moon. And actually, the more I'm digging into the moon now, the more I'm realizing how much scientism has jacked the actual reality of what we're living in, and the fact that everything they say about the moon is a complete farce. It's a complete fabrication. And that's basically how I got red pilled and put into the conspiracy realm with actual science. And now I'm just trying to fight scientism and all the bots and the trolls out there on social media. It's
now
it's
you
crazy.
you are the can opener of opening cans of worms. I need you to tell me, what about the moon? Because there's a lot of the Bell thing, the spaceships, the aliens, the noosh jacking. What is it, bro? What is it about the moon? I find it fascinating.
The moon is fascinating. I think one of my biggest aha moments when I was looking into the moon and trying to figure out, like, just escape the matrix, and because they tell us it's rotating perfectly with the Earth,
Locked in.
So we never see anything else other than the face of it. I'm like, even the most accurate watch in 100 years, 200 years will lose a microsecond or something. There's got to be some degree of the moon that's going to shift. There has to be, if it is a globular spheroid, if you will.
Yeah, it's the only celestial body, moon, that belongs to a larger celestial body like the planet that does not rotate. It's always facing in one direction. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then the fact that they say that it's reflecting the sun's light, which is absolute nonsense. Once you actually start looking at real science and how light works, I mean, when those pretend astronauts were on the moon, like if it is as bright as they say it is, because I'm guessing they went at night. That's the only reason they could be there. But if the moon is this gigantic mirror rock, they wouldn't be able to stand on there. They would be totally blind, right? Like all their fake pictures, all their crap, their fake homeless shelter that they have on the moon.
It works just like the reflectors off of on a photo shoot, right? The same thing. The closer you get to it, the brighter it gets to your face. That's how the flow would work. And how do you go to space at night? It's only called night because the sun isn't facing us. So you leave Earth, and that means the sun is always beating on you because there's nothing to give you a shadow. So you're not at night. It's a day. Trip out. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
So that's basically where I started with. I was totally asleep, and all of a sudden somebody had said to me that the moon landings were fake. And I'm like, what do you mean? Why would they lie to us? Just like any normal person. Why would they lie to us about man's greatest achievement? That seems insane. And then you swallow the red pill and you're like, oh my God, it's all insane. It's all fake.
It's all fake and gay. That's what I like to say in California. It's all fake and gay. Space is fake and gay. You know, it's funny. That kind of adds on to the idea that you were telling me about the luminaries and the electric the electricity, the luminance that they are, the pulsing power, the energy. Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be transformed, right? So if they can lie about how light behaves in space, reflecting off the moon, the lie here is not really space or the moon. It is light. It is energy. And one of these things that you were mentioning about how we might live in a simulation, in the simulation theory, my final thoughts of the theory would be, how do we level up? What is beyond? And there's something that they control that we will never fathom. There's patents of machines that can travel at amazing speeds without any G-force or repercussions, and it really defeats all laws of reality according to man. Man's created reality, right? So my theory would be, if they could lie to us about light, and we can never travel the speed of light, then we will never be able. We're locked in this premise where we would only live in where they tell us to live, because they have already instilled in us that we will never be able to travel light or ascend to lighthood, if that's even a word. See what I'm saying? So light, the spectrum of light, even our cataracts, even our eyes, we cannot see or fathom the other shades of color that animals see, right? Night vision. Green is the only shade that we see the most of in any other color, which is why night vision is in green, et cetera, and et cetera. So if they could control that spectrum, and hold us back from who we really are, we will never level up. Huh. Interesting.
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting point. I haven't heard it put like that, and I do dig that. I do dig that point. And just like Alex is talking about the moon, and like you're talking about the moon, you reference the Bible as being the biggest conspiracy book of all time, and I am a follower of Yeshua, so I even think the term Christian is kind of funny. I like to call myself a follower of Christ, but reading the Bible and looking at it through a different lens. Like, I was one of those people that looked at it and I thought it was allegorical or metaphorical at one time, and you try to conform, like, how does creationism fit with the Big Bang? I mean, I'm talking about before I swallowed that red pill, like Alex is talking about, and you try to make sense of these things, and it's just like trying to mix oil and water. You realize that they don't mix. Like, the two stories, they're two complete different stories. Like, they just don't mix together. And the Bible says itself, it says that the sun is its own light and the moon is its own light. And we know now, as level plane geocentrists, we know that the moon does create its own light, because if it was reflecting the light of the sun and we took its temperature, it should be warmer in the moonlight and colder in the moon shadow, when it's the exact opposite. So it proves the fact that the moon is creating its own kind of light. It's not it's not reflecting the sun's light, because a reflection heats up. So you wouldn't get warmer temperatures in the shadow. So just everything just doesn't make sense. And like Alex says, like I swallowed.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I swallowed my first red pill like a long, long time ago with one of my buddies showing me 9/11 stuff, and this was just probably like 3 or 4 months after 9/11 happened. That opened up Pandora's box for me. And then from there came, the Bohemian Grove stuff. And then I've just had weird stuff happen to me throughout my whole life. I'm not going to get into here, but, UFO experiences and stuff like that. So it got me into researching things, and I started asking God, like, I want to know what this stuff is. Like, I've seen it for myself. Now I'm interested. Please show me what it is. And I've come to this place where I realize, like, it's not what they're feeding us. They're not these friendly visitors from another galaxy or far off distant planet. They're interdimensional demonic beings. And, it's really opened up Pandora's box. But yeah, we like to talk about all that stuff here on Firmamental.
That was your red pill. Was that your red pill when you were with your alien situation? You had communication. You had an encounter.
Yeah, I had an encounter, man. I didn't see him, but I've had a close up encounter with a craft, a huge craft, and it was really scary. And you know what? That's when I said, I mean, I was already a believer, but now I'm a knower, because this thing went away when I started praying in Jesus' name. So when he says his name has power and authority on all things on heaven and earth, and this thing went away from, it was 3 of us together. And when it went away, when I prayed in his name, I said, I'll never question your authority again, Lord, because this thing filled me with fright. And when I invoked his name, this thing went away. So it proved to me his authority.
I have to amplify that message, bro. I got to, dude, because now I know a couple people. One of my old school best friends, Um, he participated on the show a lot, and if he's still listening to the show, he got lost. We don't know where he's at. But Matt, shout outs, yo, Morphe, if you're there, bro, I'm gonna tell him your story. This guy lived in Canada as well, and he encountered a UFO, and he was controlling it with his mind. He would tell it, if you're there, you're gonna move this way, and it would move with him, and he would blink at it, and then the thing would throw lights at him. So he was telecommunicating with these beings, right? And I told him, I don't think you were controlling them, bro. I think they were fucking around with you. They were messing with you, bro. And it's not to, this is not to say to make you think that you're crazy. It's just to make you believe in them and less in Christ, less in the Savior. Because the more the distant that you get from God, the more easier you are, the more tempted you are, the more fragile you are, the more vulnerable you are to not only manifestations from other like demonic entities, but also influence. And that's where it's at, bro. Being influenced to believe something else and not in the true God. I know people that are Satan worshipers that are going, freaking hunting for ghosts and stuff. They don't believe in God. Atheists, they don't believe in God. But once it gets too scary without those poltergeists, the moment they say Jesus, it disappears. It stops. You know, it halts. So yeah, bro, it's I just wanted to amplify your message. That's great, man. Good stuff.
I wanted to say that everybody's an atheist until they clog their girlfriend's toilet, and then you're praying real hard.
There you go. So we got to get some of that Canadian humor up in here. Alex is always timely with it.
Yo, Canada's amazing, bro. One of my best buddies, Rico from Talking Roosters podcast. I gotta get him in the OGs, bro. That dude, he is amazing, man. He's I had a friend from Quebec once too. Yeah. She spoke a lot of French. She was hot. But yeah, man, I reminiscing. Canada's a great place, man. It's one of those places that needs more patriots, and it needs to be awakened, and they need a little Jesus also, bro. It's unfortunately it's inundated.
We all do.
I was going to say one of the biggest problems I think that we all have that we're all fighting against is atheism. That's the only reason I crack jokes about atheism. I have this bumper sticker that says atheism, nothing could be further from the truth. And we're here. Whatever you want to believe, like I kind of believe that, you know, our souls come down from and God sends us or we're sent on this mission and we're here to level up, we're here to learn things, we're here to make the world a better place before we go. And, you know, we got things like the Bible, we got like Hermetic principles, we got all sorts of different things. Whatever your beliefs are, we've had these figures in history that have tried to teach us the rules to the board game or the video game. It's like, because there's rules, right? Like you just can't kill somebody and think that you're going to get away with it. You don't steal from people and think that you can get away with it. There is
repercussions.
There's repercussions, yeah. Like you will get smited one way or another by this realm. Like you are not supposed to screw people over. And now it might seem like there's a lot of diddies out there getting away with stuff.
That's the energy part. Yeah, you're sharing that energy. Yeah,
but eventually the bill comes due, and on Diddy, there's a lot of interest on that bill that he can't pay right now.
No, but he's singing like a freaking bird. Don't even get me started with that stuff, man. Look, bro, I am extremely happy that Donald J. Trump won last night. And this episode's going to come out in a couple of weeks, and I don't want to keep repeating myself because I've done it. I think I've done enough. By this time, when this episode drops off, I think it's going to be enough political conversations on the show by that time. So I'm trying to push away from it, guys. But I must say, every single person on that list has been endorsing the other person. And you can only see they're leaving breadcrumbs of truth for you. Not even breadcrumbs, like full-on plates of like, hey, eat this. And it's just a lot of bullshit, bro. And people still seem to like, oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Energy, very important, bro. Very important because like a game, like Grand Theft Auto, I wanted to share this when I was talking about the light. There is a new documentary that came out, and I haven't seen it. I've seen the snippets where the dude gets, and I wanted to ask you if you think this is God-given. he would get high on not LSD. What is it? The other drug, the drug that people use. DMT. He gets high on DMT, and then he turns on a laser, a thick laser, and it's like on the wall. And then he starts studying the laser, and he sees the laser, bro, and the laser, the smallest amount of light fractions that he sees on the wall, they're code, like the Matrix code. And he sees it when he's on DMT. And then he has other people do the same thing, and they all crack it enough to where they can see the bunch of little red lines and like numbers, a sequence of ones and zeros in the laser light, bro. Like if he's cracking, seeing through the small little window, a little window out into the Matrix or out of the Matrix. It's insane, bro. What is that? What is that?
I don't know if you want to tackle this one or I'll tackle this one, but I was a big practitioner, I would say, of hallucinogenics at one point in my life, and I have had a DMT experience myself. And I'll tell you what, man, when you're opening yourself up to those things, you're opening up yourself to a whole world that's beyond the veil that's constantly around us. Like you're literally taking yourself from the flesh and jumping into the spirit realm, and you're open to all kinds of things. So whether you're in communication with holy spirits or devious spirits, I don't think your discernment level is at a peak level to understand what it is, everything that you're seeing. So I've got to this point in my spiritual walk where I don't mess with those things as much anymore, because I'm not saying they're all evil. Like, do only bad spirits communicate with you through those stuff? Do only good spirits? Like, I think it's all relative to where you're at in your mind, because if you're in a bad place when you go to have some of those experiences, it's going to spiral down a bad hole. If you're in a good place around good people in a good environment, you could have a positive experience, but it's all relative to like what's around you. Just like it's relative to your life, what's in your environment. But I've been really cautious of doing those things because I don't think that I need them anymore in my spiritual walk. Like, do they have a place? Do they serve a purpose? Yeah, they do, because shamans have been using them for eons, right? They've been using them in ceremonies. And yes, it does open up a spiritual world. But I think you got to be very careful when you're opening up those doors, because even if it seems like a good message coming through, you don't know. Like it says in the Bible that these spirits that come from the dark masquerade as spirits of light. So I don't know if you're spiritually strong enough to discern whether you're communicating with a spirit of light or a spirit of darkness. But I do think that there's lessons to be learned from these things. I just tell people to be very careful when they're doing those things. And just me right now, I've come to this place in my life where I feel like they don't serve a purpose for me right now. But yeah, man, most of the experiences that I had on them were fun. And sometimes I took stuff just to watch the walls melt and listen to Pink Floyd, The Wall. You know what I mean? But I'm just not there anymore, man. And I'm a little bit more spiritually guarded because I don't want to be entertaining spirits of darkness.
I used to be a pretty hardcore raver, bro. Oh man, I felt like I used to drop acid, bro. I just felt my brain was on lava, bro, just melting, and on X and stuff. So, my last rave in 2017, dude, I went and I walked around that place sober, and I noticed something, bro. The feeling, the influences, and the spirits are different. Even the girls that are half naked, they don't even look attractive anymore. It's only when you're under that influence. That's why they call it influence, bro. Drive it under the influence. Ooh. So if that influential, going back full circle to the light, where I was telling you the next level, and Jesus is the light. And the Bible tells you to be more like Jesus, to be heightened up like him, and leave under that prototype. That's the next level. Living the most righteous way, not practicing drug abuse, not practicing magic, because they do exist. The Bible talks about that they do exist. God wouldn't tell you to not worship other gods if they didn't exist. He wouldn't ask you not to do magic if they didn't exist. So they're there. They're available to you, but you have something that he gave you, which is the free will. And you still decide to do that because you're intrigued, because you live under the original sin of you want to know what knowledge is, and you're not ready for it. You're not spiritually guided or influenced enough to be protected. Crazy stuff, man.
I think that as we level up and we become more humble, like we learn that we really don't know anything. But as we get up to these next levels, speaking of Jesus, love thy neighbor. That's actually one of the hardest things to do. If everybody thought about that for a minute, like, do you go out into the world and love your neighbor? That's all he asks from you, to love your neighbor, and then to be the word, not taking credit. Like, don't do like, you know, this bullshit that you go on social media and you like hand out $100 to like homeless people and you film it and you get likes. Like, that's not being the word. Being the word is, you know, going over to somebody and helping them when they're down, and not taking any credit for it. Like, just anonymously.
On that vibration. Yeah.
God's watching you. God's watching you. That's the credit. And you're doing it because your heart called you to do that. So, like I said, to me, that is the ultimate. If I can get my heart to the point where I love all people, including my enemies, maybe it's time for me to ascend, or maybe the game's over. I think that's one of the ultimate levels, like level 100.
Ultimate level. We are at that ultimate level, especially in the Western world, bro, where we have been pushed onto consumption. I think consumption, bro, honestly, consumption and food. I think consumption is the worst temptation we've ever had, bro. And because of consumption, we have greed, we have egos, we don't love thy neighbors. We start making rebellious moves our own family members, etc., keeping us more divided than ever. Consumption. It's all consumption, and the revolving piece of currency that we call money, that we love and we can't be happy without. You know. You said something right now that resonated with me, was be the word. Be the word. Word is also a frequency, right? It's also a frequency. And then if we recall, colors are just frequencies that we translate through our eyes. Same thing, again, going back to light. Try to be more righteous. Be the word. Be love. Be in that frequency. Vibrate on that level to level up in a simulation of nothing that vibrates and synergizes with everything. You told me, yeah, you got the name Firmamental off the ether. You said you got it off a download. You said those were your freaking words, right? It was in the ether, bro. It was there. You freaking downloaded that shit like electricity, bro. You plugged into that thing and then you got it down, you know. And it was a spiritual sent to you, spiritually sent to you. Crazy stuff, bro. This conversation, I don't see the conversation going anywhere, but we're touching points that I love. It's good stuff.
Yeah, man. I wanted to highlight something that you said earlier too, because you know, talking about energies and this and that, and you talk about words being energy. Well, it said God spoke everything into existence. Remember, with His word, with His very breath. And you know, you probably heard this, and your listeners have probably heard this, but even the name Yahweh is literally our breath. Like, so whether or not you believe in God, when you breathe in and you exhale, when we take our first breath and our last breath, we're literally saying the name of God. And we know that it says in the Bible that a spark from the tongue can ignite a forest fire. So what are we putting out there? Like, us as podcasters, we have to be held accountable to the things that we're putting out. And that's the thing. Like, I'm guilty of doing it too. I'm guilty of fear porn. I'm guilty of doom and gloom. But like, we're trying to turn a corner with the podcast, because doing a podcast like this, like, you know, and trying to talk about some of these subjects is very heavy matter. And I know that I fell under spiritual attack during times of this show. I think Alex has, he'd have to speak for himself, but I think Alex has. I know our producer has. And I've realized, like, if you're going to stay in this game and you're going to do it for the long haul, you need to be spiritually guarded. You need to be like putting literally on, putting the armor of God on. And that's what I'm learning. And what does it say that the sword is? The sword, which is the word, is the truth. That's what we have. That's the tool that He's given us. And I think the Holy Spirit, those divine downloads and all that comes from being in communication with Him. And like, going back to the whole hallucinogenics thing, like, I'm not telling anybody not to have those experiences. That's not for me to tell anybody. I'm just saying right now, speaking for myself, that's not where I'm at, because I feel convoluted and clouded. I feel more clear-headed right now in my spiritual walk, being sober-minded and seeking Him that way, and just through through prayer and having nice things happen, like a divine download, like the name for Firmamental. But yeah, definitely there is a lot of energy in the things that we put out. So right now in the podcast, man, I'm all about talking about how we win the game. Let's stop talking about doom and gloom and giving all our energies to things that we can't control, because I see a lot of people crying about Donald Trump winning, the election. And I'm like, really? I'm like, so what do you think if Kamala would have won? Do you think it would have been any better? Like, we need to play the cards that we've been given. But to be honest with you, man, I'm with you. I'm glad. I know all the Zionist claims. I know that he's the one that started Space Force, and we don't believe in outer space. I know he's the one that did Operation Warp Speed. But dude, just in the short term, he's talking about securing our borders. He's talking about getting rid of the green energy deal, which, come on, guys, that's horrible. We need that. Shut that.
Yeah.
Shut
California,
that down.
you'll never
shut that
you'll-
down. RFK cleaning up the food supply. Getting rid of like these illegal immigrants causing crime, stopping the war in Ukraine, ceasefire in Gaza. Like, come on, man. If God's even given us a slight window so we can get things right and get more prepared, because if the left came into office, I think we're going directly down the toilet and people wouldn't even be prepared for what's happening. Maybe God is granting us a short opportunity to get ourselves prepared for what eventually will happen, and take this as an opportunity to grow. And stop crying about the situation. Like, if Kamala won, I would have to accept it too. Like, we can't sit back and cry. And that's another thing I don't want to do, though. Just because Donald Trump won, I don't think that we should be like, I see a lot of people posting videos of liberals crying. Like, it's not cool to throw it in their face either.
I threw one out there. I threw one out there.
It is pretty funny, though. It is pretty funny,
bragging
though.
rights. It's bragging rights, because we took that shit like men for 4 freaking years, where everybody was calling me a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're crazy. You're January 6th. And then, you know what? Don't even get me started about this shit, bro. Look, bro, I'm going to tell you something right now. Yes, hope. That's all we got left. And the hope is not just that Donald Trump won. The hope is not just that, okay, now he's going to fix the food and everything you said. It's not just that. There's also hope for you, the people that didn't want him to get there, because we're not only going to benefit off of it. You and your children are also going to benefit off of it, bro. They're going to start getting educated more. They're going to start preaching a little bit more, praying a little bit more, protecting, professing, listening to Paranoid Radio podcasts a little bit more, etc. and etc. It's all about, a conglomerate of all of us being more united, first of all, instead of talking about, hey, you're white, I'm brown, you're from Canada, I'm Chinese. You're going to be talking about, hey, we all breathe air, we all get hungry. What can we do to freaking build a village and collaborate with each other? Because that's what we need, bro. We need a village. We need our tribes back. And I'm not talking about natives. I'm talking about all of us. Mentally, emotionally, morally, physically even. We need to be strong. We need to be mentally strong and fortified in the spirit. That's 100% right. I feel you, dude.
I just can't believe that they were going off of abortions. Like, they were just leading with that. Like, oh God, we need to have these abortions so badly, or else America's going to go to hell. Like,
it's the devil, bro. It's the devil.
I didn't realize murdering babies was the number one priority. Like, economy, screw the economy. Economy will be fine. Inflation, it's fine. It's fine. We just need to murder. We just need to murder babies. It's all good. In what is it? In the disguise of women's rights and women's health. Come on.
Yeah. I like how they call it reproductive rights. Like, there's nothing reproductive about murdering human life. Like, that's just trash. That just shows you their double entendres, spin it upside down. And look, we've been living in a topsy-turvy world for the last 4 years completely, like, where evil is called good and good is called evil. It's plain as day through people that are looking through the Holy Spirit lens. Like, let's call it for what it is. We see it. We see the games. We see the facade. And yeah, man, at least there is some glimmer of hope. And like, if any person of faith that would stand for this radical stuff, like, you really have to question your faith. Like, really, you want men playing women's sports? That's the end of women's sports. You want transgenders using the bathroom with your little girl. I don't have a daughter, but I have nieces, Alex has daughters. I know you wouldn't want weirdos going in the bathroom with your little girl. Just like simple little things like that. Like,
it's basic common sense.
And people act like, oh, we lost our rights. We just lost our rights. Well, people are tired of hearing the victim card being played over and over again. It's the same rhetoric. It's
overprivileged countries give you, man. Overprivileged Western countries filled with consumption. That's what it gets. That's what it gets you, bro.
Well, and it's total gaslighting, right? And I'm gonna pass it to you, Alex. But dude, like these same people that are crying about their rights, it's like, dude, you can be a homosexual in this country, and you have all the freedom to do so. You can do whatever you want. We're just acting like you just don't poison our children's mind with this stuff. Keep that to yourself and keep it in your bedroom. Like, there's nothing wrong with your lifestyle. That's your choice. But why are you pushing this stuff on children in public schools? It's disgusting. Like, come on, go try to do that in some of these other countries, and you'll be beheaded. At least in America, you can still do that. They're acting like their head's on the chopping block. Like, come on, people, man, that's extreme.
Well, my biggest problem is it's not equal rights anymore. It's special rights. Certain groups want more rights than others. And it's like, oh, well, it's because we were down for so long. Now we have to have a boost, a leg up. What? Isn't the goal like equal rights? Like, no. Like when you take a look at these clowns, they really do want special rights. They want to lock up a certain group or whatever for whatever reason.
Shut the other group down. Shut them up.
Shut the other group down. It's like, man, when they talk about like slave owners, and there is not even one person in America right now that was a slave owner. Maybe their families and the grandparents or whatever were.
100%.
But all the kids now that they have a chance to change things, and they are not their grandparents. Yeah. Like this whole thing is totally ludicrous.
I used to work with I'm not gonna mention her name, but she's African American, and she's like, oh, you heard about California that they were gonna start paying for the slavery, and I was like, look, like almost like, you know what, like, look, I'm gonna tell you something, like, don't get offended, bro. Like, I'm freaking brown. My parents are from Guatemala, bro. I was raised by Mexicans, dude. Like, you don't like it was, in California, Arizona, Nevada, bro, New Mexico, Texas, that all belonged to freaking Mexico, dude. Like, there was fucking Mexican slaves in this bitch too. What the fuck? So am I gonna get paid because I'm brown and Mexican? The fuck? And she stayed quiet. I'm like, no, you have an opportunity to go to school every single freaking day, but you didn't. You chose to fucking smoke weed, shake your ass, and work for fucking minimum wage. Shut the front door. That's it. Like, you chose this lifestyle, bro. We've all had the equal opportunity. Life, bro, life is like poker. You all get dealt a hand of a different hand. And some of us get a freaking worse hand than the others, but we all have the right to place a bet. Where'd you place your bet at, bro? This is all you, dude. This everything that happened wasn't you. Nobody should be getting paid fucking my RIP dollars for you to feel good about your ancestors getting whooped. Get out of here, man.
I'm still waiting for my white privilege card in the mail.
And you know what? It's people that allow that type of mentality to go unchecked are the ones that enable the low frequency patterns and the low frequency behavior. That's what it is, bro, because we're enabling it, bro. Dude, I'm telling you right now, bro, the moment you take out God out of a school, Satan moves in. Easy as that. Yeah. The transfer of power, transfer of wealth, energy cannot be destroyed. It could only be transformed.
I was just going to say the 7 deadly sins have been celebrated, especially in this last decade. If you look at all the 7 deadly sins, if everybody isn't familiar with that, go look at it. Gluttony. We talked about gluttony already. Greed, envy, all this shit. Like, it's insane. It's a pride, obviously pride. The number 7.
That's why they call it pride.
Envy. We're always envious of the Hollywood stars, right? Fallen angels. Those are the stars that those fallen angels over there.
That's my theory too.
In California, you know what I mean?
In California,
putting on those masks and playing different parts. Shout out Tyler, the fittest flat earther. That's my boy, man.
yo, I have that theory too. I think that the Bible doesn't say anything about the stars will fall from the sky. I think these stars will fall from the sky, from the high altitude sky that we left them on. And where I think it's talking about the stars, the entertainers, the jesters that we freaking, we're always applauding for and trying to be like them when we grow up. I think those are the stars that are going to start falling down. And then eventually the end of times, which is, I think we're yeah.
Ooh, the stars will fall. And imagine if the pit of Hollywood falls down and all of them get exposed. Whoa, dude, that's deep. I haven't thought of it that way. That's tight right there, man. That was tight. What do you think about that, Alex?
I'm giving him a clap. Golf clap
Great
on that one.
minds come together, bro. You guys are freaking badass, dude. You guys are my type of people, dude. I came in here a little, I'm tired as hell, bro. I'm an hour and 30 minutes of freaking sleep because of the elections, and I'm over here recording full on like a freaking kid, like a 15-year-old again, bro.
I
You
did
don't
have a
see-
confession. I have a confession on this podcast, though. I went to a hockey game on Friday, and I did go into the women's room by accident. The women's
It was an
bathroom.
accident, though, bro. Plus,
Yeah.
you're in Canada. It doesn't count.
But I stayed, so I was welcomed. No,
You
man, I
didn't
just
pull
went,
out. You didn't pull out the hockey stick, did you?
no. But man, I was just like, what the heck? Turn around. I was just like super red, and I'm like, man. I turned the corner. All I saw was men on the wall, and I didn't see the WO. I was like, oh, geez, embarrassing moment for me, guys.
How common are the neutral restrooms in Canada?
Oh, in Canada, I would say it's getting more and more common. Yeah, but it's not like it's a shared bathroom. It's like like one person in there at a time.
Oh, okay. It's not like a family restroom like the ones you see at the mall.
Yeah, like there's family ones too, but usually it's just like one person at a time. We got way less people in Canada.
Look at what we're talking about. The privilege of having your restroom at a public space, bro. We are in this moment, and people think like, oh, you need more. There's gonna get like today you live in a day where you could buy a hot dog, bite it half, and then throw it in the trash if you don't want it anymore because there's enough to go around. Eventually, we're gonna live in a scenario where that hot dog you threw away, you're only gonna see it in your dreams. It's not gonna have. You're not gonna have a weenie. You're not gonna have You're not gonna have the ingredients to make it. We're gonna be digging and killing for what we want to eat and surviving like our real ancestors did because of consumption and because of this all low frequency. And believe it or not, bro, we live in his realm. We live in the author of lies, the 1,000 faces, the Satan himself. We live in his realm. This is his world right now, and you can tell that he's ruling and he's having fun with our souls, bro. That's what we got to be careful with our kids.
I think this is a good pivot point for what you just said. And it's like, look at what they've done with our indoctrination system. This is a big one that I've liked to point out on Firmamental Podcast because this is something I didn't realize till later on in life and just even more recently since we started doing this podcast. But dude, our schools are indoctrination system, cookie cutter systems that produce a hive mind. Rockefeller said it himself. I want a nation of workers, not thinkers. And if you look like at the classes, I'm 46 years old, so we're a little bit older than you. But I remember even when I was younger, we still had wood shop class. We had home economics. They were teaching how to bake, how to plant stuff, how to make stuff with your hands. They took those classes out of the curriculum. It's almost like they don't want people being self-capable. And like we need to go back to teaching ourselves these skills that our grandparents had because with technology and asking everything on our phones, our kids now aren't even doing their homework. Artificial intelligence is doing their homework for them. Like people are becoming less capable and they're more reliant on information from outside sources than having those skills themselves. I think we need to go back to these tight communities that you said that we know how to grow our own food. We know how to have skills like hunting, fishing, field dressing an animal, planting clean food, making your own clean food, like knowing how to build things and being less reliant on the system and becoming self-reliant. That's super key right now in how we win this game. Like it's up to us to teach our kids. Don't leave it to the state to teach your children because they'll just indoctrinate your kids further and further. And I'm going to say it here on your podcast. We fix this education system easily. And this is how you do it. Instead of sending kids to a cookie cutter system and have this standardized testing, make the education geared towards a kid's talent. So if one kid's good with math, set them on a career path to become an engineer. If one kid's good at art, set them on a career path to become a graphic art designer. If one kid's skilled in the English language, teach them how to be a public speaker. Then you have a group of skilled workers that go to school because they're being taught classes that they're interested in. So they're not skipping class. They're engaged in what they're learning. And then when they graduate, you have a field of workers that are capable and ready to go. Like our system is so broken and needs to be fixed. That's how we fix it. Hey, Donald J. Trump, make me your minister of education. We'll get this thing running right.
The Aztecs used to do it. Not every single Aztec man was an Aztec warrior. They weren't all wrestlers. Some of them were boxing each other with jade hands. Some of them were sculptors, and the Greeks did it all the time. Not all of them were fighters. You know, some of them were artists, the other ones were entertainers, and the other ones were just there to produce. We have those that we used to do it in slavery. We used to have the right guys with the right body structure to have sex with the right women, so that you could have the right babies. Dude, we all have to play a part in society, and I'm not saying go back to slavery. I'm saying go back to the mentality of sharpening up the skill set that you were born with, so that you could master it, bro. You know. You said something that I didn't want to slip my mind on the ending portion of the show. You said, what was it to say? Go back. What was it? Alex, take it away. I'm gonna remember what he said. I'll bring it back.
That's why I've learned to carry a notepad when I podcast.
Snap it! I had a good one too. It was good. The feeding of the AI. The feeding of the AI. Check this out. Another theory, right? Okay. You allow your kids to feed the AI what their homework is at their education level, at their age, while your kid is not studying. He's getting the answers for free from AI, while AI is feeding itself how dumb we really are to find flaw points on how to manifest itself and create itself our master, to make itself our master, so that we could later on vote for AI to be our fucking president and rule all over us.
So one of the things that I do for professional reasons and for money reasons, I do search engine optimization. And one of the things that I've been talking about with this AI and Google is fact checkers. And they're not checking facts anymore. They're checking if you're going against what the scientism or what the accepted narrative is of the story. So if you go against anything, so think about it. Back in the day, let's say 10 years ago, you wanted to know something, you just ask Google. It's like how many pounds in like does a Boeing 747 weigh? Boom, you go on Google, it tells you exactly how much that thing weighs. Now it's to the point where I don't believe Google at all. Nothing. I can go through. I could get multiple answers. And they could all be right or they could all be wrong. I'm guessing that they're all wrong.
That's what happens to us conspiracy theorists. What we do is we ask a question and then AI or Google will tell you the answer. But if you ask it differently, it'll tell you a different answer. That's when people were asking, "Oh yeah, Alexa, did Helene was Helene made through using HARP or direct energy weapons?" The way you asked the question makes it to give you the result that you want. It's not, you're not asking the question correctly. I debunked that. I don't know who was sharing it on OGs, and they were sharing it on also the Golden Guild. And I was like, you guys are asking it the same way. Why don't you ask it differently? And if it does, then I'm wrong, right? Then I've been proven wrong. But try asking it in different ways. And a lot of the people, they just want to spoon feed themselves the information. They want to. They're down enough to go death scrolling on TikTok, watching ads shake for hours instead of taking 5 seconds out of their fucking day, go to the search bar and search the right stuff for themselves. # look it up. Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's talked about this on your podcast, but do you guys know what the Hubble telescope is? Have you heard of the Hubble telescope? Mm-hmm. If you look at all those images now on Google, it looks like ChatGPT created those images. That's all they all look like AI pictures. It's like shit. They've been fooling us with AI art for years. They just didn't tell us that they had AI art. And I was just watching this documentary, Ashley Madison, on Netflix, which is about breaking a commandment of cheating on your wife and basically making money off of it. It's a total nightmare. But the thing that I found very, very interesting about this website was back in 2015, they were already using bots to communicate with guys. So guys would communicate, like do chats, and they didn't realize they were talking to an AI bot. And the bot was pretending to be a woman. And every message they would send the bot and reply was money on their credit card. And that's how this company was making money, is off these chats. And this was before they knew what AI bots and intel. So these bots were trained to talk dirty to these guys and keep them messaging back and forth. I'm like, and there it
ultimate
is.
AI catfish. Yeah, and they were also
AI catfish.
They were also getting the information to find out what these guys tendencies were and what they liked, so they could continually feed them thing and keep them baited, right? They were chumming a never-ending pool.
Yeah. So all this tech that we think is brand new now, you know that it's like, if you just look at it, if you just look at the Hubble telescope, you're like, oh shit, that's AI art. That's not stars in this realm creating these farts of gases.
Wave colors. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
Come on, guys.
The cotton candy planet, y'all.
Oh god, dude, that's freaking retarded. Yo, I have to admit, bro, I'm a Star Wars super fan, bro. And that was retarded. That made me laugh. That made me chuckle. I was like, you guys are dumb, bro. Fucking cotton candy planet, really. Yeah.
Gay. Hashtag gay.
But the beauty of Star Wars now, once you realize all that shit's fake, you can just enjoy Star Wars for what it is. You don't have to pretend like you're going to be Luke Skywalker. You know, that's where all these fat idiots in their basements, no offense to the fat idiots in the basements, but, you know, like they're...
You said it offensive, dude.
Go take a shower, cut your hair, put your lightsaber away, and go get laid. Seriously. Go get laid.
Put your real lightsaber to work.
Yeah, put your real lightsaber to work. Like,
yo, ladies and gentlemen,
Darth invade her.
Darth invade her. Woo!
Darth invade her.
Oh, was that a freestyle, bro? I haven't heard
freestyle.
that.
Yo, that was hard, bro.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yo, that was good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these guys, they don't know where they can find you, man. That was great.
Yeah, man. Find us at thefirmamentalpodcast.com. That's our website. Go check us out on any place podcast can be listened to. We do have a Rumble channel, a few video podcasts put up on there. Nothing spectacular. We're going to start deep diving more into the video podcasting. I want to get into some live video podcasting and stuff, because I think that's when you get your real views and numbers bumping up. But yeah, that's where you can find us. Go check us out, subscribe, rate the show, share it with your friends, because we know these algorithms are doing us absolutely no favors. And I am definitely heavily shadow banned on Instagram. I just got slapped with like my 4th community guidelines thing. My page is getting no activity. I get that stupid thing. Oh, are you sure you want to follow this person that posts false information? So I might even shut that shit down. Who knows? But yeah, that's where you can find us.
Don't get discouraged. That's what they want you to do. Don't get discouraged, bro. I've had my shit. I was stuck at 750 followers for fucking years, bro. For years. And I get shut about all the time. They just lifted my live 2 weeks ago, specifically just for the elections. And no, bro, no. Thank God that you cannot give up. The war is this. And now that Trump won, he's gonna, this is the trend. There's gonna be more like Meta, more social media
Freedom.
sites, and flipping it and making more money off of freedom of speech. Watch it happen.
Well, what do you think about real quick before we bounce out? And I want Alex to say his goodbyes to your listeners too. But what do you think about like us going over to Truth Social, because they claim that's an open forum right there? Have we been talking about this in the Truth community?
The Truth Social, I mean, everybody that was into Q and Donald Trump, everybody's on Truth Social, but Truth Social became an echo chamber. That was the problem. There was there was nothing new, and it was just echo chamber. And the information wasn't really. It was brand new when Trump would put it out, or somebody in Trump's circle would put it out, and then it would just echo, and there was no new innovation like X. Because in X, you have your opposition as well. So you have to see what they're doing. You're studying their moves, and you get to innovate how to be the best person at, the information war. Because this is what it is. We're in information warfare here, bro. This is what it is. World War III, this is where we're at right now. Doing this. Yeah, man. Alex, let them know.
Yeah, no, it's important. And yeah, check us out, thefirmamentalpodcast.com. I think me and Raul will do a good job of taking you up and down the roller coaster. We have some laughs. We get down and dirty with the conspiracy stuff. We have great guests that aren't conspiracy theorists that have amazing stories. And I think that the evolution of Firmamental is very, very bright. And we will win the war. I'm calling it now. We will win the war because we're good men.
Yeah. Yo, the most important thing, doing what you guys are doing right now, do not ever, ever look back. You look forward to the next episode and the next episode and the next episode, and then you'll notice that it's not 150 anymore. At this point, you're at 300 now. it's going to be so hard to quit once you hit your high numbers. And then you start seeing people actually resonate with you and start dropping comments and giving you 5-star reviews. And I don't know where they start posting your link, and then they start sharing you often. And you're still shadow banned, but they're sharing you. And they don't give a fuck if they get shadow banned either. That is what I live for, bro.
That's
and
cool.
then the money will come on its own time, bro. Massive shout outs to the Firmamental boys. Make sure you check them out on Firmamental Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you can also find them at the drop-down menu on paranoidradio.com. Check them out today and follow them. Break that algorithm today. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to catch them up and also drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts on their show and on Spotify. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out. Yo! Y'all had fun. That shit picked me up again.
Paranoid Radio.